What do you make of China's response? What does it mean for the everyday American?
I mean, this is a refusal to back down. And I also think China is sending a message to other countries that they could be an alternative to these protectionist measures from the U.S. Now, what does that mean for consumers? It means likely that prices are going to go up. I mean, think about it. Just do the math. We just mentioned a 50% tariff on top of a 54% tariff. Businesses are not going to be able to absorb all of that. They're going to have to pass some of that on to consumers. Maybe companies can source from other countries that still have a tariff, not as big as China. But I mean, this is really becoming a who's going to blink first situation.
You know, the president keeps saying that these tariffs are a way of bringing manufacturing back to this country. Do you see that happening?
Well, it's going to take a very long time, okay? Years, sometimes as much as 4 years. It's going to take hundreds of billions of dollars. But on these smaller island nations, for example, economists I'm talking to are saying that's not going to bring production here. You know, this is more about creating tariff revenue. Maybe a country like a Vietnam or a China, but on a smaller island nation, this is about creating government revenue.
So it's now a game of who blinks first? Both sides are dug in.
We have massive breaking news right now. Donald Trump and the Trump administration have announced that a 104% tariff will go into effect against China at midnight after China missed its deadline of noon today to roll back its own 34% tariffs on American goods. This is a significant escalation. 104% tariff, which will mean that costs will go up across the board on everything America imports from China, but especially things like electronics, your Apple iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, all of those are going to go up tremendously in price. In addition, textiles, toys, clothing, so much more will be impacted by this. These tariffs will take effect at midnight tonight or 12:01 a.m. tonight. These are retaliatory tariffs. They're 104%. Prices could theoretically double, triple in some instances because of these tariffs. Donald Trump is not backing down. We are in a trade war with China, which means TikTok could be impacted. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack shortly, so subscribe for free at the link in my bio and follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come very soon.
Hi everybody, welcome to another FAFO episode. If you're new here, my name is Vanessa, and in today's video, we are diving into one of the most contentious economic policies of recent times, which is Trump tariffs. From steel and aluminium to extensive tariffs on goods from China and other nations. So these measures has sparked a fierce debate around the world. I can say that many MAGA supporters has just voted for this because they thought it would benefit them, it will protect American industries. But now they have started to understand because they just voted for this policy without understanding. And I hope you guys have seen how different nations are calling White House for reduction or removal of these tariffs. So without taking much of your time, let's watch different perspectives. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, kindly subscribe, leave a like, and also tell us what you think in the comment section. A shout out to all original creators that we are going to see here. I'll be back with my commentary.
Update news. Well, everybody that's been talking that shit, guess what? Now it's coming out that more than 50 nations have contacted the White House and Donald Trump to begin negotiations to stop tariffs. Yes, that's right. Exactly like I predicted. That by Monday this would be started, and my God, it started even earlier than that. 50 nations have now contacted President Donald Trump saying they want to renegotiate to have low or no tariffs between them and the United States. So everybody bitching and complaining that America's over and our economy's dead and we're going into a depression. But within 72 hours, 1/3 of the world has come to the table to try to negotiate to get rid of tariffs and give us a better deal. Exactly like I told you would happen a couple days ago. Didn't I say that? And here we are, 72 hours later, and 1/3 of the world is ready to negotiate. Fuck you. Now, since I was right on this prediction, let me give you the next prediction. By the end of this week, Friday, we will have made contact and begun negotiations with around 100 nations, guaranteed. And within 2 to 3 weeks, the stock market will basically be where it was before this began. Only we'll have no or low tariffs with a lot of these nations. And you know what that'll result in overall? Lower prices, dumb fucks. God. I hate to be so right.
It's a tit for tat.
54%.
34%.
Trump has threatened an extra 50% tariff on China.
China is pushing back.
That's the latest after Trump upped tariffs on China and China retaliated. But with all this back and forth, China thinks it could come out on top. China does see a lot of opportunity in this. I mean, basically, Beijing is watching the US dismantle the international system that it had a pivotal role in creating. And Chinese leader Xi Jinping has his own vision for the world, but it's difficult to put that into place with the US as a major leading superpower with so much international engagement. So certainly if we step back and look at this from a broader perspective, there's a lot that Beijing can gain. It's obviously concerned about the economic impact. I mean, China's economy has just only now started to see some glimmers of recovery from a very difficult time. The property sector crisis, the recovery from the COVID pandemic, the restrictions that China put in place on its own people at that time. But what we're really seeing is that they are projecting confidence. They're saying, we have technological advancements regardless of what kind of constraints you're putting on us. They're also saying our economy is going to be able to weather this. This isn't going to destroy us. And we have policy that we can put in place to help bolster that if we start to really feel that pain. We're also seeing outreach to other countries. And I think when we talk about opportunity, that's a huge part of that. China in recent weeks has met with counterparts in Japan and South Korea. They've had outreach to the European Union. And the message there is we need to work together against what Beijing calls this unilateral bullying from the United States. And so as we're looking ahead for as this trade war escalates or doesn't, I think that's certainly something that we're going to be watching more of from China.
We have a trade surplus with Australia. We have a free trade agreement. Why? They are an incredibly important national security partner. Why were they whacked with a tariff?
Senator, despite the agreement, they ban our beef, they ban our pork, they're getting ready to impose measures on our digital companies.
With your Greek letter formula, the fact that we have a trade surplus.
We have a global tariff on everyone. We're trying to address the $1.2 trillion deficit that Biden left us with.
I think that answer, sir, you're a much smarter person than that answer. The idea that we are going to whack friend and foe alike, and particularly friends, with this level is both, I think, insulting to the Australians, undermines our national security, and frankly makes us not a good partner going forward. The lack of trust from friends and allies based upon this ridiculous policy that goes into full effect at midnight tonight is extraordinary. I go back to what the market believers believe today is happening. A good day in hospice. I'm afraid if we keep these tariffs in effect, we're looking like an economy that will be in hospice. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
In recent months, as the ripple effects of Trump's tariff policies have become more evident, voices from across the globe have begun to question their long-term impact. Let's take a closer look at several examples that illustrate this human side of economic policy. Consider the case of the European Union. EU business leaders have voiced concerns that tariffs on America's steel and aluminium are just the tip of the iceberg for factories in Germany and Italy, where manufacturers rely on a fluid exchange of raw materials. The uncertainty has been a source of anxiety. Small business owners in these regions have reported delays in shipments and increased costs, which trickle down to consumers, raising prices on every goods. Here, the call is clear. Lower tariffs can help rebuild bridges and restore the flow of trade that once bolstered local economies. Moving over to Asia, several Southeast Asian countries heavily reliant on exporting goods to the US have also felt the impact. For example, Vietnam, a rising hub for manufacturing, has seen its export industries caught in a tug of war between protective measures and the pressures of global competition. Workers who depend on these jobs for their families now face uncertain futures, fueling passionate appeals from both government officials and grassroots communities. They ask not just for economic relief, but for a step toward more collaborative and human-centric international policies. Closer to home, farmers and producers in the United States have experienced a double-edged sword. While tariffs aimed to shield certain American industries, farmers found themselves with lower demand from international buyers. The frustration is palpable, and community leaders across rural regions have organized town halls and public forums, urging policymakers to reassess these measures. These gatherings showcase a profound intersection of politics and personal livelihoods, a reminder that behind every statistic lies a human story. And let's not overlook the political discourse in regions like Latin America, where nations with long-standing trade relationship with the U.S. now call for a more inclusive dialogue. Leaders in these countries emphasize that reduced tariffs could foster improved relationships, bolster economies, and pave the way for joint progress on issues ranging from innovation to environmental sustainability. Their message is one of hope and a belief in the power collaborative people-first economies. In every corner of the globe, the message resonates. While tariffs were envisioned as a tool to protect national interests, the human cost, jobs lost, communities destabilized, and opportunities diminished is too great to ignore. The growing chorus of voices is urging the policies that not only protect domestic industries but also promote fairness and mutual growth in an interconnected world. As we reflect on these diverse perspectives, the overarching theme becomes evident. Economic policies cannot be divorced from the human element. Striking a balance between national interest and global harmony remains one of the biggest challenges for today's leaders. The call for lowering or even removing tariffs is as much a plea for economic recalibration as it is demand for compassion in policy making. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth exploration. Whether you agree these are tariffs or not, it's clear that their effects ripple far beyond trade figures. They touch lives in communities around the world. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's continue this conversation. Stay tuned for more updates, and if you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.